Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. Today we are going to continue coloring the base of this snow globe. The last video was pretty lengthy, so I cut it off and just made it a part one. So this is going to be part two, and we are going to complete this picture today. As you can see, I did go up here and finish all my flags that hadn't been done yet. And I just used my gold Color It gel pen. They are fabulous gel pens. If you're interested in those, I will make sure that they're linked down in the description box below. They're the best gel pens that I've been able to find. We are going to probably just finish up this color along today after we finish the base. And then we're probably going to move on to another color along. So if y'all are interested in seeing that and always being notified, make sure that you subscribe to my channel. Turn on your bell notifications so that you always get notified every time I post a video. And if you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Let's go ahead and start coloring. If you've been following along with this series, you probably know which colors, especially if you watched the last video where I colored the lower part of the snow globe. You probably know which colors we're going to use, but I'm going to go ahead and go over them again for those of you that don't remember. So we've got dark umber, and then we have goldenrod and light umber. This is jasmine, cream, burnt ochre, and then this is my deco yellow, which I've been using for some highlights. I also every once in a while have been adding a little bit with my white pencil, which is PC 938. And I had canary yellow in the mix, but I didn't end up using that one. I don't know if I will, but these are the colors that I've been using. To continue from the last video, what I'm basically doing is making sure that I'm actually using the same colors that I used in the castle to make this the golden castle. If you saw my first video, I will have the playlist for this color along linked in the description box below. Just in case you've not started yet and you want to follow along with this color along, you'll be able to see every video and every tutorial from the first video all the way to the point where we are at now. So I'm trying to color the base of the snow globe all gold, but we needed some way to make all of the intricate parts of the snow globe to stand out, or what would be the decoration. So if you're looking at the flat image, you kind of have to figure out which part is the decoration and which part is the actual part of the base of the snow globe. So the parts that are the actual base of the snow globe, which I would have assumed is these areas here, are the areas that I made gold. And then I wanted to create a bronze type color, so that is what I did here to get all the intricate details, and then this part of the bottom of the base to really stand out. We're going to continue, and I'm going to go, I think, right here first, because this is the actual part of the base of the snow globe, and then all in here, and then I would consider these little shapes and stuff to be decorations. So we're going to continue with that. And the colors that I was using for that, I believe, were jasmine and goldenrod. And I believe that I used a little bit of, actually it wasn't cream, it was deco yellow. And I believe these are the colors that I used to create the gold. So we're going to go ahead and start with those areas. Oh, and then over here where I have the gold areas, if you see down here on the edge, just to create a shadow, I'm pretty sure that was light umber. So we'll probably have a little bit of light umber in this as well, just on the edges, or to create shadows where you see these little scallops coming down. I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I'm going to speed it up to music so you can watch it come to life. If you noticed, I did come back at the end and I created a shadow line with my dark umber just so that I could separate each one of these sections and make sure that they are going to look separate from one another. Now we're going to move on and do some of the straighter lines like we did down here at the base. And we're going to go ahead and just get those colored, and those are going to be the same color, this bronzy color here. And to create that bronzy color, I used the dark umber along with the jasmine and the burnt ochre. So the first thing I did, if you remember from the last video, is I just came in with my jasmine and I laid the color down, the lightest color. And I'm going to do the same thing on this one. So we just lay one layer of that. And then we're going to come back with our burnt ochre. And we're going to start adding a little bit of that, and this is actually what creates that gorgeous bronze look. Now I'm going to come back with my dark umber, and I'm going to come to the edges, and I'm just going to lay some of that. And remember, we're also going to use this to come right along this edge and create a shadow to make sure that it has the look like the two areas are separated. Because if you were looking at the base of the snow globe, this area here is actually part of the design. And it looks, if I'm looking at it, like it may be laying behind. So I want to make it look as though it is laying behind. This is where you could really start pushing a little bit harder and laying some of that color. But when you get right in here, don't push too hard because you don't want too much of that color in there, because that's where I want to leave that area open for highlights. And then over here right on the edge, that area would be darker. Let me come back with my dark umber and just create a little bit more shadow in this area. And I'm going to do the same thing to the other edge of the snow globe, or of the base. And now I'm going to come back with my burnt ochre, and I'm just kind of pulling that through. Now I'm going to come back with my jasmine. And I'm pulling all these colors together with the jasmine. And this area in here will remain a lot lighter. I'm going to come back over here and just kind of darken these parts up. All the way into right here because I want to keep that shadow there. But I think think I like the way it looks. And I'm going to come back with my, I think I'm going to use cream, and I'm just going to kind of highlight this shadowed area here. Or highlighted area, I'm sorry. I like how it's lighter right there. It really just adds to it. Now we're going to come back and we are going to do the same thing to this straight piece of the base right here. And now that you've seen exactly how I do it, I'm going to go ahead and set this one to music, and we're going to do the same exact thing. I think I'm going to come back behind all these little oval pieces right here, and I really want these to be gold so that they really stand out. I'm thinking I might want to put glitter on them. I really don't know yet, but behind them, so that they do stand out, I'm going to make the areas behind very dark. So it's just going to be a straight color. You're not trying to do anything other than just straight color it. I'm going to come in with my dark umber, and I'm just going to fill in those areas everywhere behind each one of those. Now we're going to come back and we're going to do this area back in here that is to the back of these other decorations, and then probably a little bit over in here. And we're going to use the same colors because those are going to be gold like these areas down here. So again, we have our jasmine and our goldenrod, and I'm going to use the dark umber, and I don't know if I may bring in a little bit of the light umber. We shall see. So the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to come in here and we're going to lay down our jasmine all in and around these other little pieces or little shapes, and try not to get into the actual shapes when you're doing this, because if you do, you're going to need that handy dandy little mono eraser I keep telling you all about. Because that is the only eraser that's going to get in there and erase those little bitty spots or little bitty spaces. This is just our first layer, and we're going to come back with our goldenrod, and we're going to go over this because the combination of those two colors is what creates the color that we are looking for. And then, as I did with these other areas here, I think I'm going to keep, or these areas in here, I think towards the top part of this base, I'm going to keep this area in here a little bit later. Now I'm going to come back with my goldenrod, and we're going to go over this. And this is what's going to give us quite a bit of that gold look. The combination of the two colors together. And now I'm going to come in with my dark umber, and I'm going to add the color in here like I did in all those other areas. Just here on these edges. I'm going to come over here and do the same thing on this edge. And I'm going to come over that and pull that through a little bit with my goldenrod. And so that way it changes up that color just a bit. And again, I'm trying to really stay out of these little shapes here. Now I'm going to have to come up in here with my dark umber, and I'm going to have to go around all of these little sections here. So I'm going to go ahead and speed this up now while I do that. If you just saw, I came back with my dark umber and I just made sure I went right over here, and by doing that I was just trying to create the separation of these areas. And so now I'm going to come back with my goldenrod, and I need to come and pull some of this through so that way I don't have any of those thick lines that I just created. And we're just going to go through and we're going to smooth all those out. And as we do that, we are going to be adding just a little bit more color as well. Now I'm going to come back with my jasmine, and I'm going to go over this, and I'm going to go in a circular motion. I love this color, or all of the colors together, I should say. And again, I'm making sure that I go over all that dark umber with this color. I'm using, I would say, a medium pressure right now. And I'm just trying to go over all these areas. I don't want to put too much down in here. I'm going to put some through here, but I'm not going to go all the way up to the center because I want to come back with another color, possibly my Deco Yellow. Okay, so let's grab our Deco Yellow. And this is where we are going to put the Deco Yellow all in this area here. And look how it just kind of really brightens it up. It's going to brighten it up much more in the areas that you kept lighter, where you didn't put down as much pigment from the other colors. So if you wanted to brighten it up all the way through and just continue and just kind of add this brightness all in up here, it will still over here where you didn't add as much color, you'll be able to really see it and it'll really pop right there. And if you wanted to add a few more layers, the more layers with Prismacolors that you add, you'll be able to see that color even more. So look how pretty that is. I love the way that it turned out, and I love the variation of the different colors. I especially love that Deco Yellow over here in this area. Now we're going to come back and we're going to move upward, and we're going to do these little scallop thingies over here. And those are going to look just like these down here. So we're going to come back with our, what was it? It was the jasmine and the burnt ochre, and then I think it was a light umber. Actually, no, it was a dark umber. I remember it was the dark umber. Okay, so let's go ahead and just lay this color just like we did down below. So we're just going to lay our jasmine. Oh, I love how this is all coming together. It's so pretty. And don't be afraid to go out of any lines or into any other areas, because all of this is going to have this color in it too. So you can just go through these quickly and just kind of add your first layer of your jasmine. And I'm just coming back with a second layer, because I want enough of it so that when I come back with my next color, which is my burnt ochre, that the combination of the colors is going to be enough. Probably should sharpen my pencils. Down here at the bottom, don't go down in there, because I want to leave that color there just to leave a little bit of a highlight. So I'm able to go a little bit faster now that I know exactly what I'm doing and what my ideas are for the rest of it. So just keep coming through and pulling all of this down. And do this to every single one of them. I had to take a break and go sharpen my pencil because I think it was a little bit too dull. I like to keep my leads fairly sharp when I'm coloring. It makes such a big difference. So we're coming down almost to the bottom, but we're leaving a little space there. And we're doing that on every single one. And I was on my second layer with those there. So I need to add a little bit more pigment on these because I already did the second layer over there. And then come back with a little bit more and a little bit more here. And I'm pulling them down almost to the end. Now I'm going to come back with my dark umber. And this is what really gives us that shadow. Uh-oh, I went into the other area there with this. Be very careful with this color. Now I'm going to come back with my burnt ochre and I'm going to go over these and try to pull some of that dark umber down and kind of mix these two colors, because that's what's going to give it that kind of tarnished bronzy look. This color combination would be absolutely amazing for anything steampunk. I know Hannah Lynn has a steampunk book. Deborah Muller has one. I think Color It even has one. But to do like the wheels and the gears and the different like other steampunk themed type things, this color combination would be absolutely amazing. Gosh, now it makes me want to color a steampunky type page. Let me get out my Hannah Lynn book. Okay, so I'm coming back with my jasmine and I'm just bringing that highlight back in at the bottom. And this is why we went and kind of shaded this in down here and made it a little bit darker. Because this area in these was going to be a lighter shade. And we want to be able to see the separation in the two areas. I think they look really good. So now we need to come in and we need to do the insides of these. And we're going to do that just like we did the parts down here. So I believe that that was the jasmine and the goldenrod again. Or I think that we actually have to color the whole thing in with jasmine. So we're just going to do this here like this first and just go over the whole area. So now you're going to come back with your goldenrod and you're just going to go like this over all of these lines. I don't know, I might end up changing my mind. Let me see what happens when I come back with, I'm going to try my light umber first and see what I could do as far, that's not my light umber, here it is. Let's see what I can do as far as creating some shadows here. Because I don't remember what color I used down here. It might have been the dark umber. I think this one works well. I'm going to go this way so that I could then turn it and go the opposite direction. I don't want to keep turning it since I'm filming. Turning my page back and forth and make you guys dizzy, right? Yeah, that creates quite a bit of shadow. Okay, so let's turn it a little bit this way. I'm going to come back and do the same thing on the other side. Okay, so we got every single one of them. Now I'm going to come back with my goldenrod, and I'm just going to kind of pull that through like I always do. I'm not sure about how it looks a little bit more yellow down here in the bottom part. I might want to go ahead and make that a little bit more gold. Let me go ahead and, actually no, I don't want to use that color. Let me grab my Deco Yellow, and I'm going to kind of burnish this area out with my Deco Yellow, and that way it's going to be really bright. That is very pretty. Okay, so let me come back and just fill all of the bottom parts in with another layer of the jasmine. And then you can still see the separate sections. I know, but see, I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, I need more shadow. And so maybe I should add some of the dark umber. Let me go ahead and try that and see how that looks. Yeah, I think that works. For this strip down here, I think I'm going to come in and, I think I'm going to make it light. Okay, so let's try and see how it looks. Let's just come in here with our, I'm just straight coloring over the whole entire thing with my jasmine. See, if you start with a lighter color and then you don't like the way that it looks, you can always come back and you can do something else. And see, now I'm looking at it and I think that I want it darker. So I think I'm going to do the combination of the burnt ochre. Let me come back over it with some burnt ochre. Yes, I think this is going to look better. Add some of this in here. It really brings it out a lot more. And I'm kind of just going along the bottom here and still leaving that highlight from the jasmine. Now I'm not going to know what I want to do with this strip here. Oh, trying to make sure that you keep all, this is my dark umber, trying to make sure that you keep all the areas separate and still keep that contrast when you're using the same colors is very difficult. Let me pull that through a little bit here. Yeah, I think I like it much darker. I'm adding a little bit of this in here just for some shading, just because I think it looks good. Now I'm going to come back over it again. With, what is this? My burnt ochre. Now let's make sure we get that highlight in there with our deco yellow. So now it's got a little bit of everything in there. After contemplating this a little bit, I think I decided to make both of these the same darker color of these here, and just make sure, this is my goldenrod, so I'm just going to go through and I'm going to lay this down. But I'm just going to lay my goldenrod all through here, and I really don't know exactly what color I want this to turn out yet. I just know that I want it to look good. So I'm going to use a little bit of a difference in the colors. I used the goldenrod instead of the jasmine. And I could always change my mind if I want to. So it's okay. I just really want it to stand out. And I still want there to be a separation between these two pieces here. So I might have to do a little something up underneath each one of these little pieces here, just to make that happen. I think I do need my jasmine. I'm going to come over all of this with my jasmine. And it does look like I'm going to need to use my dark umber or something with a very sharp, sharp tip. And I'm going to have to do something here just to separate out these two areas. So here's my dark umber. Let me go ahead and add a little bit of that there. And then I'm going to have to make sure that I come up in here underneath each one of these little areas. Just to make sure that these two areas, one above the other, are separate from one another, and you could still see this little scalloped edge. See how hard it is when you're using all the same colors to still be able to keep that contrast? Okay, so let me get my burnt ochre and kind of pull this through a little. And let me come back with my dark umber. Got to put a little bit of shading in here. So I just came back with my dark umber and then my light umber, and I kind of went over this more completely because I couldn't create a separation between these two pieces. And then I came in here on the scalloped one and I added a little bit more of the sienna brown. So now they actually look separated, which I really, really like. So now I just need to figure out what I'm going to do with these. And these will probably have to be, these little scallops here, probably have to be the same color as the line going across here. I'm going to go ahead and do that one, and I'm going to speed that one up to some Christmas music. I thought my camera was on and apparently it wasn't. I went ahead and did all these little shapes all in here, and how I did those was I just went over every single one fully with jasmine, and then I came back and I went from the top part here down about halfway and added the burnt ochre, and then I took my dark umber and I went all the way at the top and pulled down just a little bit for a shadow. And then I went over each one again and took that dark umber and pulled it down with the burnt ochre again. Go ahead and get my Posca, and I'm just going to dab a little dot into each one of these, just to create a little bit of a reflection in each one. We have one last step now. Let me make sure I'm here in frame. And I really wanted these to be gold. So I'm going to go over them and create that combination that I did with the, what is this, jasmine. And I'm just going to full color them with jasmine, and then I'm going to go over them with goldenrod because that's what creates that actual gold color. At least the gold color that I really like. And I'm actually thinking of putting glitter on top of each one of these, but I would like them to have some color, just in case the glitter I choose is not very opaque. I'll decide whether or not I'm going to add glitter after I get all of this placed. And I'm able to see how it looks. I don't know, I might just need a little bit of Posca to create a little bit of a reflection in each one of these. I'm probably going to go back and forth until I decide what I actually really want to do. I don't know, they look really pretty the way that they are. I don't know that they need glitter. Let me go ahead and go over them with just one more layer. Oh yeah, now they look really good. And if you can see, I'm leaving a little tiny bit of space down at the bottom of each one so that they could each have a reflection. And so I'm not coming all the way down. I need to come in here with my dark umber and just really kind of emphasize the ends. And maybe let's go ahead and take the light umber, and I'm just going to add a little bit of shadow in each one. I decided I am going to come back and I am just going to put a little bit of reflection in each one of these. We have finally completed the snow globe. I can't even believe it. I'm really happy with the way that it turned out. I think that the base was even more intimidating than coloring the castle or doing any of the background within the snow globe or the snow or anything. But I love the way that it turned out. I was able to create something that I am really satisfied with. I hope y'all enjoyed all of the tutorials in this color along, and I hope that you will join us for the next one. The next one won't be announced until after the new year, but there will be a color along coming. Until then, I think that I'm going to focus and concentrate a little bit on my adult coloring for beginners series and continue along with that. If you have any suggestions or things you'd like to see in that series, let me know in the comments down below this video. I hope y'all enjoyed the video. Please do make sure that you subscribe and turn your bell notifications on. And I will see you in the next one. Happy coloring. Bye.